Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I'm going to be doing a mini update. So give me just a few minutes. I'm going to share the link on a few platforms. And as I do that, um, I will say that February has not disappointed for quite some time. And I feel like I forget. I feel like I forget that February just kind of like brings that ultimate punch. Um, and I mentioned this a little bit in inside my Patreon. I shared a little bit about the portals. So we have February is like a closure of a portal that opened up in November. So November through February are actually really big energetic portals that just bring so much up to the surface. So it's been really big. And again, it has been for several years. If I kind of go back into February and how it's been for myself, it's been pretty big, to say the least. All right, let me just do one more, and then I'll come back to YouTube. Check in with you guys, see how you guys are doing too, because everything keeps shifting and turning and morphing and transforming in so many different ways. And it's really, really important to honor where you are. And one of the big messages that came through is you're definitely not alone here. You're not alone in the energies that you're feeling. You're not alone in the experiences as well that you're having. It's just that everyone goes through them, like maybe at different times and different phases. But if we were to kind of, sit down and really go through what's going on right now, it's collective. Okay. This, and I say this even though your linear mind is well, like comparing. Okay. Um, so and so are not feeling what I'm feeling, or so and so are not going through what I'm feeling. And yet, we're never going to know exactly what someone else is going through to its entirety at some level. We're not. Everyone is going through their own specific shifts in the way that they're able to handle them. So one of the interesting things that did happen that's not usual is that both my parents and me were going through upgrades at the same time. The good thing is that the intensity varied. So like when my dad and I were down, my mom was able to like, keep the house running. And then vice versa. When my mom was out and had to rest, my dad and I were kind of up. And so that's the biggest, or that's the beautiful thing about all this is that everything is going to align for you so that you're able to receive the support that you need to receive so that you're um you're able to go through this process and honor this process. This is part of the reason why we do take turns. Okay, if we were to see the whole world going through the same thing at the same time, probably be a little chaotic and it would probably be quite stressful. Right? Imagine everyone like needing to sleep, go through like deep sleep phase at the same time. It probably wouldn't work. You see what I'm saying? Like we take turns and our bodies know exactly what to go through and at what phase and at the intensity that it needs to go through um when it needs to go through that. And that's part of this divine intelligence that is inside of us, that is inside of our body, that is running the show. So again, that was a interesting experience from my end. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Um, and so we've been going through a lot of upgrades. It's been really interesting just to see. Um, and by the way, like my parents have been going through many upgrades throughout uh throughout this, throughout several years now that I can see, living with them. And obviously I see so many other people. I see so many different people going through so many different things. And it's interesting because lately what's been coming through is like this up leveling of the frequencies and up leveling of pretty much everything. I actually kind of feel this call to like call it Ascension, and I might do a video on it, Ascension 2.0, because everything is starting to expand so much more. The level of clearings that we're going through, the level of upgrades that we're going through, the integration process, everything is going deeper. Everything is happening at a little bit of a there's a little bit of increased intensity. There's a little bit more of this emotional release. There's a little bit more, a deeper sense of activation that's happening right now. And I want to remind you that that is so huge for this process. It's actually crucial. And we were going to go through that at some point. However, there's a continual push. And I've been talking a little bit about this for years actually now, of like push. There's this level of push of higher self, higher self body, like pushing us to go deeper, pushing us to clear deeper, pushing us to see more and to feel more things. And it's always interesting, to say the least. One of the biggest things that I want to remind you is that your linear mind is programmed to go against this process. And it does it in a way that we're not even really aware of it, which is one of the biggest keys and one of the biggest things that I want to open you up to. Okay, you may think that you're not doing it. You may think that this isn't happening. You may think that you're fully open. And yet at some level, there's always going to be that part of you that is really holding on to the fear and really holding on to the confusion, the emotional turmoil that this activates is big. This is part of the linear mind. Um, well, it's an activation to say the least, and allowing yourself to just open up to the possibility. I like to say, open up to the possibility. What if? What if this is, I am too scared. What if um, I'm really not that open? What if, um, I'm a little scared? I'm angry, I'm this, I'm that. All of these different things are going to be so valid. And they're going to be really, really important for all of us to start opening up to in a myriad of ways. Because this energy is finally being hit. Okay. Our most suppressed unconscious and subconscious fears are being triggered and activated constantly. This is part of the reason why there's a lot of anxiety coming through. There's a lot of um, emotional stuff, but there's a lot of fears that are being triggered that will bring through a lot of anxiety, a lot of this, panic, a lot of like um, relentless, maybe frustration. It's a faster moving energy than fear. And so there's going to be all kinds of movement. I talked a little bit about movement in my last video. Um, there's so many different types of movement to honor, types of movement to honor throughout this process. That is really, really important to open up to and just become more aware so that you can start to support and move in all of these different ways that you need, that your body needs. So I do want to open up and see if there's if you have anything that you'd like to share. If there is, I have people here live with me. You're welcome to share how have you been feeling, what's been going on in your world. How is the roller coaster ride? It really is a roller coaster ride. And when I say roller coaster, it's part of the wave that we are, right? We're energy, therefore we're frequency, and a frequency is a wave. So there's going to be this there are going to be many phases that bring through a lot of the same themes, that bring through a lot of the deep emotions. The linear mind gets really caught up because at some level it believes that, oh, I worked through this once. And that's it. I will never have to work through or revisit this again. And it's just not how this works. You always have the opportunity to expand more by diving deeper into your core wounds and your big themes that you've experienced throughout in your life. And so allowing yourself to be really open to this. Don't keep tabs of how many times you worked through stuff. Don't keep tabs from like comparison. This is more of like an observation. Like there are some things that I do kind of observe, but this is so that I can expand more and so I can learn more about um how this process works. All right. But for the most part, when a recurring theme comes up or a recurring emotion comes up for me, I'm usually like, yes, finally, I get to dive into a deeper level. I get to feel deeper. I get to clear this at a deeper level. I get to break freer. So we talk about breaking free, and now it's about breaking freer. Like continuing to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into um, new levels of freedom, because there are new levels of freedom, right? Um, there are so many new levels. There are so many deeper levels to this process. It really is a never-ending story. It's a never-ending journey. But the moment, or as you continue to break out of those old paradigm and old programming that that the programming that functions from, this is the start and this is the start and this is the end. And then once I end this, then it'll end forever and I'll never have to go through this again. Okay. This is an infinite journey. There will always be more to explore. There will always be more things to see. There will always be more things to feel. This is just how we expand, right? This is part of the ascension process. Excuse me. And so, if you've been feeling this, this revisiting of XYZ, wounds, feelings, emotions, themes, just remember that you are going deeper. Okay, it's not that you failed, it's not that you didn't properly clear or heal the first time. This is a spiral. So you're going in a spiral and you're going deeper inside of yourself. So remember that, remind yourself of these things. It's super important and crucial for all of us to do that. And continue to be really present with the body. So I'll talk a little bit about what I have been going through. Um, so, and it's been really interesting. I talked a little bit about this, just how how the higher self body is evolving. I'm always mind blown, and I'm always fascinated about just how the body is progressing, um, and evolving. I mean, like, so much. But this last huge upgrade was all sinus area, forehead, like the top of the front lobe, front part of the head, um, going down to like cheekbones and even like top of the mouth. So it was interesting because it was like this triangular area, which is very symbolic, but it was like right there. The pressure, there was pain, um, the sneezing, the mucus, all of these things being cleared was huge. And I saw someone talk a little bit about this too, experiencing this too. And obviously we have sinus, we have this clearing of the nose, which also um, there's mouth, there's mouth involved too, but sinus and then up into the forehead and forehead head and forehead or front of the head is all third eye. So we had a big third eye clearing, or you are going through a big third eye clearing when you are experiencing this, which is absolutely huge. This is a big, 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 big area that goes through. Again, I want to say continue clearing because there's so much to clear in this area because uh, so much got like molded. Um, and it hardened basically. So it's a lot of clearing in this area. And I always say this, I'll ask your higher self, ask your body, soul body, light body, what it needs to be supported. It might be different. It might be something that you've never done before, or it might be just, super simple rest, right? Sleep, go to bed, which was mostly actually for me what I had to go through. And so, really allowing yourself to honor that. That actually ended up being this, deep sleep phase where it was just me asleep, me in bed, just honoring the process. Um, Energy levels were at an all-time low. So there's very little physical movement that I was able to do. I needed to allow the internal energetic movement and also emotional movement, mental movement to um to really or to occur during this process. So a lot of clearing, a lot of throat stuff too. There's a lot of throat stuff too. And I feel like there's been some of that also happening. Hi, welcome. A lot of throat is being, we're going through a lot of throat clearing. Welcome if you're here and if you're watching live, welcome. I know some of you can attest to this. There's a lot of throat stuff happening, a lot of throat stuff, throat clearing. And so I've been going through that as well for probably a couple weeks now. It intensifies at night. And if you've noticed that at night, it just like things just amplify. The pain amplifies, the feelings amplify, emotions amplify. There's a lot of people that are also have been wide awake at night, and that's also actually an activation. Part of what happens at night, we have the stars. We have we have more stars visible at night. Okay. So there are so many different frequencies from all of these different star systems, from the solar system to the planets. And those frequencies are a little bit or a lot stronger than just having the sun star during the day, right? So during the day, for the most part, we're only able to see the sun star. Okay, so these are soul codes that are coming through the sun. And at night, we have tons more other frequencies and codes coming through because planets are visible, because these stars and constellations are visible. Well, even if they're not visible, even if you're not physically able to see them with the eye, it doesn't matter. We are there. It's almost like they're closer to us because at night we have the night sky, and so we're able to see. We're able to like the planets. These planets and stars are above the horizon, and so we have kind of like a deeper connection to them, which means we are receiving more frequencies from them. And again, these codes and frequencies are more intense than just the sun. So it's really normal if you've noticed that some of the upgrades, some of the sensations that you've been feeling intensify at night. And boy, oh boy, can they really feel like at night it just kind of pack the punch. The biggest thing also is to, or I will repeat myself, the biggest thing is to continue to ask your body what it needs. If you are going through this phase where you're wide awake and nothing you do seems to put you to sleep, then don't force this. In fact, don't force anything because your higher self body is taking over. Your higher self body, your light body, is doing so much. In fact, it knows that it needs to do a lot in a significantly shorter period of time. And so there's so much right now. Again, you're not alone. I will probably venture out and say absolutely everything that most of us are feeling. Collectives are feeling too, meaning hundreds and thousands of people are feeling this too. Now, what's happening is that a lot of people are going through these things too that haven't gone through like our so-called spiritual awakening. And so you may not know, of these people yet, right? Because they're not yet in our communities. However, I will say that if you are in like online communities of people that are going through this process and have spiritually awakened, there are so many more now that are going through this process, which is like a double yay, because as the physical body continues to go through these shifts and these changes and these upgrades, this changes everything because everything is created from what is inside of your physical body. And I'll say your energy bodies. But once we hit the physical body, like, watch out. This is part of the reason why we went through like a global thing in 2020. It hit the body, right? The biggest thing that happened in 2020 was the physical body and what was happening, which we all know. That allowed the whole world to go through a big thing. Okay. So as we continue to go through these physical body upgrades and physical body changes, we're going to continue to see massive world shifts and massive world changes. Now, the biggest thing with that is to continually bring yourself into your world. Your personal world will always, 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 always be the biggest and most important world to focus on. Because as you continue to see your world and see and be present with everything that's shifted and changing in your world, you're going to be much more aware and much more prepared to all of the other changes that you're going to be seeing in other people's worlds. So really take this and breathe this. This will always be about your world. This will always be about you, your body, what's going on, what you're sensing, what you're feeling, right? Your thoughts. Part of this process is becoming masters of our own energy, aka masters of our own world. And one of the biggest things is that the ego linear mind is continuing to dissolve, which is, it freaks us all out because that's how we've been functioning for so long. It's through the linear mind, linear head. Everything at some level that we've known, that we've done, that we've created, that we've believed, that we've accepted has come through the linear mind consciousness, the linear mind mentalities, the old 3D programming. All of that is changing. All of that is shifting. And because our whole world, all parts of our world, most of our world was created through that, then there is this sense of like, oh my gosh, my whole world is falling apart. There is this frantic, or there is this like, survival kicks in. There's this confusion and frustration that kicks in because the linear mind doesn't know that there's a whole other world, and there's like gazillions of other worlds that exist outside the linear mind. So just allowing yourself to become a little bit more aware of this, right? Becoming a little bit more open to these aspects of yourself that are that still function from ego, linear mind, 3D programming, that are being triggered and activated and are just like losing it. This is a normal part of the process. You're definitely not alone. As you continue to breathe light I like to keep it super, super simple. So breathe light. Close your eyes. Bring more light into your body. Your soul light is going to be able to clear, release, dissolve these parts of you that are being triggered. And the biggest key with that is you will be able to flow and embrace the process yourself. You'll be able to be more at peace. And that's one of the biggest things right now. And that the parts of ourselves that are being triggered are the parts of ourselves that have not been at peace ever. Right? Those are the parts of ourselves that are still, living trauma, that are still wounded, that are still in this chaos, that are still, in this fight or flight, in this survival protection mechanism mode. Okay. And remember that this is key. Those aspects need to come out. So it's a very normal thing to go through, that, oh my God, feeling triggered and feeling all these things come up. They need to come up. You need to open up and feel them at a deeper level that you've never felt before. And this is part of continuous, deeper levels of freedom. Being triggered and activated is a huge part of this process. The linear mind, the ego, doesn't do well with that. Doesn't do well with feeling, which is part of the reason everything was about suppressing. So now it's about becoming more open, becoming more conscious and aware, and allowing your higher self body to take over when you go through these triggers. Emotional, mental, physical triggers. Because the ego linear mind doesn't know how to deal. And this is not for your ego linear mind to deal with. Because your ego linear mind will stay there. And it will create this comfort zone, and then it'll just go around and round in circles. So being triggered is part of the process. And now allowing yourself to breathe through this process allows your higher self, higher mind, higher body to take over so that it knows how to deal with the triggers. One of the things that's also happening, that I've also felt and experienced myself too, is it just feels like everything's bombarding us, right? It's like, oh my God, love, right, and center, and from all directions. It's like one thing after another, or it's just like back to back to back to back to back. And you're not alone on this either. I mentioned this a little bit. There is a acceleration point that we're going through because of the increase in light that we're receiving. Every day is more, Every week will be more, every month will be more and more and more and more. And so it does feel like we're going through a phase where, you know, we're experiencing an acceleration of events or an acceleration of triggers, meaning that before, what we would go in like, I don't know, a month, we're going through it in like a week, maybe a couple days, sometimes even a day. It's because everything is accelerating because of, it's like the body is very serious right now about cleaning house. It's not playing around anymore. It's not like, oh yeah, we'll do that later. It is continually supporting us in clearing more and more and more and clearing deeper and deeper and deeper. The biggest thing is to continue to remember this, remind yourself, and ask them for more support. Ask your body what it needs. Ask yourself. Something that, it's really interesting because talk about receiving, there's a whole programming with that. There's a lot of like, there's a lot of lack that comes with that, right? Because the programming of the carbon-based body is lack. We're not good enough, we're not worthy, we're not deserving, right? And so everything's been like a push away, push away, push away. We push away love, we push away support, we push away everything that we need. And obviously that will be triggered so that we can start to feel deeper levels of this, so that we no longer function from that programming. And as that occurs, we start to open up to being more receptive, right? Being more open, and we start to embody more of this I am good enough aspect. And so more things start to come through. And that is one of the biggest things that's happening right now, to really anchor and breathe and become more aware that with more light that comes through this planet, the more light that comes through your body, the more light that comes through inside of you, the more support that you will receive, the more support that will appear for you, the more support that will come through. Because here's the thing, everything supports. We've just been functioning from a programming that says otherwise. So we did not see it. We didn't see things as supportive, right? We did not perceive things in this way. So, we go into this, oh, that's bad or horrible or whatever the case may be. It's part of the old programming, right? We couldn't see. And when we can't see and we can't feel, then we're not open. And so when we're not open, we're not receptive. We're not receiving. And so there's this whole, like, right, karmic loop cycle that's like where we believe that that very little things support us or nothing at all. And so this light that's coming through is breaking absolutely everything so that we can see more things and so that we can feel more things too, so that we can release and dissolve those things. And as that happens, then we're able to see the world from a completely different lens. And you're able to see how absolutely everything in your reality, without exception, supports you and will always support you. And in fact, has always supported you. But you just didn't see it. And at some level, you couldn't see it because of the level of consciousness. So again, the beauty and the magic that's happening right now is that we are going to continually be receiving, be more receptive, and perceive the world differently. And support is going to be just more than what we even asked for. The levels of support that we're going to be receiving and that we are receiving right now, by the way, this is in this now. This is not later. This is not, no, it's right now. We are receiving an enormous amount of support right now. And so working through the muck and the old programming and the old perceptions is so huge and so crucial for every single one of us right now. Where am I still resisting support, right? Where am I still in this? I'm not good enough for support. Where am I still thinking that I need to be this and I need to do this and I need to clear this or heal this first? And I say where because it's inside of your body. And the more you ask where, the more your body is going to show you exactly where that energy is held. And this will bring through much more consciousness for you because we want to be able to know everything that's inside of our bodies. So I'm sure there's more. For those that are still here, thanks for still being here. And if you are just popping in, thanks for popping in. If you, for some reason, had to leave, that's fine too. Thanks for sticking around. If there's anything, I'll just open it up for like maybe a little bit more. You're welcome to say hi. You're welcome to also share what you guys have been feeling too, because that always supports in this knowing that you're not alone here. Every single one of us is going through a lot, and I should probably say has been also going through a lot for the past 5 years now or so. What's happening, I feel, is like this culmination. So we are at this culmination of just like so many things, so many different things are coming up to the surface. But this culmination of like energies, so many things that are coming up are meant to break us even deeper and break us freer. So I want to open you up to this because it's massive and it's super supportive. And no matter what your linear mind at some levels like, get me the easy way, or like, can I get like the shortcut to this, or can I like, How can I cheat? There is none of that. You can't actually do that. This isn't at a higher soul level, like we know this. Like, this is how we grow. This is how we expand, right? Everything that we've been fighting against and everything that we've hated at some level and everything that we never wanted to deal with and never wanted to, confront or never wanted to feel, you have to go through it. Now, it's important to go through it from a different level of consciousness. Because if you also go through this process and go through the pain and all of these different processes with the same level of consciousness as your ego linear mind separation consciousness, then it's going to take longer and it's not going to support you that much. Like it is going to support, but it's going to be a little bit longer. So that's a whole other. Hi. Hi, Erin. Hi, Adrian. It's been very intense and emotional. Jaw and throat discomfort. Yes, a lot of this throat, neck. Oh my God, even I didn't know this. It was sometimes I do know and sometimes I don't know what's happening with my parents, but my dad was going through a muscle the phase where the phase PHASE where your neck muscles get so stiff. You can't move. It hurts when you move them. You can't turn your neck, which by the way, it's a huge phase. And so the other day was like, oh, I feel so much better. I can move my neck. I'm like, yeah. Um, awesome. But throat, for sure, a lot of throat, and I'm still clearing a lot of throat. I'm still going through a lot of throat clearing myself. Throat clearing, throat discomfort, family slipping, death of a friend. It's like, OMG, a lot to handle at once. Um, family slipping and death of a friend. I did read that, and it was just kind of like I was in a fast mode, but I want to send you my peace or send you more peace, send you more love during this time as and you and the family, of course, sending you both tons of peace. Hi, Daniel. You talked exactly what I experienced moments ago. Really? Again, we're not alone. You're not alone. Whatever that was. Yes, there's so many things that we are going through that we're seeing now more people. So there's always more than you that's going through this. But the biggest thing right now is that more and more people are going through this. And it's only going to grow, guys. This is only going to grow. It's already reached the mass collective. And I say this because a lot of people are going through what we're going through even before they've gone through the spiritual awakening phase, which is huge. Um, a lot of family stuff too. There's a lot of family. There's a lot of um, ties, old ties being cleared. There's a lot of emotions that come with it too, by the way. That will always be a big, big, big thing because there's so much with family. There's so much to see. There's so much to clear. There's so much to become aware with family stuff So that will always be a big thing. And I feel like that's also going to be like, that will continue to be like a big theme for all of us. Separation consciousness. So if you maybe I should ask if you could explain a little bit more about what you mean, just so that we're on the same page. Um, but I'm not gonna. Well, I mean, might surf if I say it again. But if you said you talked exactly what I experienced moments ago, then it may be just me. It might just be appropriate to reiterate that you're not alone. You're definitely not alone. Everything that each person is going through, um, I will be very bold in saying that every one of us at some level can relate. And that's also the blessing of a lot of things happening in a shorter period of time. Because now we have more things in common. Because now we have more things that connect us. Now we have more things that unite us, right? Before everything was, separation and everyone felt super separated and everyone felt alone and everyone felt, you know, like I'm the only one and I'm, whatever, going through this abandonment. It's not quite the same anymore. Every single one of us is going through the same exact energies. We're going through the same themes. We're dealing with a lot of the same overall topics. We're feeling the same sensations. This is meant to unite us. This is meant to bring more empathy and compassion to one another too. Because we're not separate. We never have been, we never will be, right? So this is another big, big thing to really keep reminding yourself. The more things that occur, the more things we go through, the more things we will have gone through that other people have gone or are going through as well. And it allows us to bring through a whole new level of compassion and support. As I listened to the podcast of Brother Todd, she mentioned, for example, I told Morgan, and she said, like I told my husband, oh, and the more he said this specific phrase, I got pissed and sad. So it brings me back to this um triggering the trigger phase, the triggers that will continue to open up, that will continue to be felt, whether it makes sense, whether you understand it in that moment as to like, why am I being pissed, why am I being triggered, what's the emotion. Like, one of the biggest things that I've learned and that I remembered is that nothing has to make any logical sense. and unless it does. So where you mentioned I was very sad, and still I am a little bit. I didn't have that. Okay, and I want that, and I want it. Okay. Um, so just gonna to talk about a little bit about the triggers that we'll go through. There's going to be lots of things that trigger an emotion, that activate an emotion, that make no logical sense. I will go through tons of different activations and tons of triggers that seem little, that seem small, that do not make any logical sense at all. And something just gets triggered inside of me. There's a deep subconscious emotion that gets triggered inside of me that sometimes it's so deep and it's so like strong. The emotions, the sadness, the anger, the frustration, the confusion, the grief. It's so deep that if I were to tell you that just by me seeing this, or just by being watching this, or just by me remembering this, a whole explosion occurred, it wouldn't make sense to you, and it wouldn't make sense to the linear mind. It doesn't make sense to my linear mind, but your linear mind is no longer in control anymore. And so I allow those emotions and I allow those activations to occur because I know they're so powerful. So just wanted to bring that because there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to feel that you don't really know why, and you don't know why this particular thing triggered that, because it will feel like there's no connection, and yet to the higher self mind, everything's connected, right? So it knows why. Um, the sadness, the anger, the grief are actually really huge emotions too, as well. We're going through a lot of that right now. There's a lot of that coming through in the collective. Now, when I say it's coming through the collective, and there's a little bit of this misperception that, oh, it's the collective, it's not mine. I'm not feeling me, I'm feeling the collectives. I want to remind you that you are the collective. So anything that you feel, that you may feel, that you may think is a collective and you may think it's not yours, it is, because you are everything. You are the collective. You are everything and everyone. And the thing is that the emotions go so deep, guys. We never really knew how deep they went. We had no clue. At some level, your mind just wants to discredit, like, oh, no, no, that's too much. It's too deep. I can't possibly have that much. So it must be somebody else's, or it must be the collectives. Okay, that is a normal 3D programming. It's in every single one of us. The biggest thing now is to allow yourself to open up to owning it and allow your body to take you deeper than you've ever been, and allow you to feel it deeper than you ever have before. There is a big release, deep sadness, deep grief release that's happening right now too. For many reasons, right? We will all be triggered and activated in our own way. But we're all feeling these things. So you're definitely not alone. I went through my own episode too. And, some of you have also shared going through this episode too, of the grief. In fact, just the other day, which was yesterday, I shared on my feed a really powerful post about underneath the anger, there's grief. In fact, there's so much underneath the anger, but grief is a big one for every single one of us. And this is all coming up to the surface. This is all like resurfacing. So it's good. Like, allow yourself to open up to embracing it. Like, even be excited. Yes, I get to feel this now. I'm gifting myself the opportunity to break free from this. Instead of, oh my gosh, when is this gonna stop? Oh my God, I got triggered again. Hell, whatever the case may be. It's really, really important to shift your perspective about all this, to shift how you viewed all of this, to shift the emotion to this, because it's so huge. Here I am. Which you are so welcome to do, brother. There's so much that we're all going through. Um, there's so much inside of us that is being triggered and activated that we didn't know. It's almost every day or every other day for me. It's literally like revelation upon revelation about something, about this, about that. And it's both. It's this like jaw dropping, like, what? I had this, or I thought this, or, whatever. But simultaneously, it's this like, wow, this explains so much, right? I get to see more of me. I get to learn more of me. I get to bring another puzzle to my reality, which explains why this happened, which explains why I did this, or explains this other thing. And it just expands me. And it's actually very, very exciting because this is all about bringing back those puzzle pieces. This is all about seeing more about yourself in a new light, seeing more about yourself that you had absolutely no clue existed. And that's one of the biggest things about when we talk about revelation, when we talk about disclosure. This is about your own personal disclosure, your own personal revelation, because there's so many missing pieces to our world and our reality that must come forth now. And we must be super open because everything is a clue. Everything becomes a puzzle piece. Everything becomes a revelation, an epiphany, disclosure about yourself, right? But this is how it works. The linear mind, the ego, gets really rallied up and gets really distracted by the outside world, right? It gets caught up in the trauma and the drama. It gets caught up in whatever the case may be. We all have. We've all been there. But the biggest thing now is to continually call yourself out when you notice you're distracting, right? Or you're distracting yourself in not an appropriate way or in not a timely fashion. Like, there's distractions. There's healthy distractions. to open up to, right? Like forget about Ascension, forget about everything and just go do something fun. Go watch something that you love, right? Like there will be levels and there will be phases where distractions are super needed. Okay? But allowing yourself to notice when you're distracting yourself, when you know this isn't the highest thing to do, when you know that there's more inside of you to feel, to see, to recognize. It's super duper important for your higher self to call it out. Allow your higher self to call you out on it. Because it will, if you're listening. And yeah, it's going to be like, oh man, this is a higher self, divine dad, like saying, nope, not doing this right now. Nope. Mm-mm. Or whatever the case may be. Like, there's different tones to it, but it's important to allow ourselves to open up to all of these different things. There's no going around the bush or playing around. Like your higher self body is super serious right now about what needs to get done, about what needs to get cleared, about all of these different emotions that you still have to feel. The grief, the sadness, the anger. And anywhere you feel like it's not for you, I'm not ready, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. Allowing yourself to dive deeper into that too, for all of us, is super duper huge. This is always going to be like the main theme of our whole existence, by the way. The lack, the perception of lack, the depthness of this lack is infinite too, at some level. And so it's always going to be super big to just open up. What am I feeling? What am I feeling about myself? And there's so many things that have come through me too that, like, regardless of, what others may think or believe, it's like I still go through super low self-esteem, like, super low of the lows of what I think I am, what I think I do, what I think I don't do. Like, and I just have to allow myself to express that, let that out, and feel that. Go as deep as I need to go into with that. You're not alone. There's always going to be that energy of lack to always open up to, always expand into. So again, you're not alone. We're not alone at all. If there was a moment or there was a time in the quote unquote past that we thought we were alone, like right now, we've completely surpassed that at some level. This allows us to bridge more of that gap. Bridge ourselves. Bridge inside, but bridge also ourselves. uh, Question. My 9-year-old dog has been acting much more aggressively and is usually so sweet. Animals are feeling this too, I would imagine. He's clingy and wants me. Absolutely. Animals are feeling this too. Um, all animals are feeling this. All pets are feeling this. Uh, Children, babies, you name it. Trees. plants, like absolutely every single um consciousness on this planet and actually beyond are also feeling this. Okay. Um Bring yourself to connect a little bit deeper. Connect your energy to your dog's energy or your pet's energy, if any of you guys are also going through this. Child's energy too, your baby's energies too. Connect energetically through however you're guided. So examples like closing your eyes, really connecting through the breath, bringing more light into you and your pet or your baby or whoever. You can also work with bubbles of light, putting them in a bubble of light and connecting also through that. So you can feel a little bit of more of what's going on. Um, there might be an energy that he's activating, or there's an energy that others might be going, that are others might be portraying that might also be an activation for you. Oh, well, and that's why the question is anything else I can do to support him. This is why allowing yourself to deepen the connection energetically with him so that you can receive more information, so that you can feel more of what he may need. He may also be activating an aggressive aspect of you that might need to come out as well. Because there's always going to be this, like pets and kids, there's reflective. There's a reflective um there is a reflection, activation that supports. And so allowing yourself to feel into that a little bit deeper, to feel where that aggressiveness, like what aspect is being triggered, um, and what might support you both. He's jealous of the puppy. Okay. So I keep it super simple. I feel like you guys know this. Allowing yourself to open up and feel those energies inside of you. So if you can pinpoint, okay, he's acting more aggressive. Yes, he's jealous. Can you connect to those energies inside of your body? That will always be a huge key because it allows you to bridge the gap. It allows you to connect at a deeper level, and it allows you to understand why he's bringing up these energies. So opening yourself up to feeling the jealousy and feeling the aggression or the sadness or the grief or whatever it is that, any of you guys might be going through or might be feeling with whoever is in your reality so that you can feel that. Because that's always going to be a big, big thing that will support. Yes. So open up to that. Always, 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 always. And allow your linear mind to take a break. Allow your linear mind to kind of like put it to the side so that you can really allow yourself to feel that. And because your linear mind, this is how the linear mind works. The linear mind is programmed to take you the long way. This is why we go in circles so much. This is why we go into the karmic loop cycle. Because the linear mind is programmed to never get you to where you actually need and want to go as a soul. The linear mind will always just run in circles and circles and circles and circles, which we all know it doesn't get you anywhere. So the more that you bring yourself out of the linear mind and bring yourself into the body, deeper within the body, you're going to see more things. And it is going to shorten the length of time. So thanks for bringing that up because I know there's a lot of us, a lot of people that are going through, whether it's with pets, family members. Again, kids and babies are going through this too, by the way. And so there's so many things. There's so many things. There's so many things. There's so many activations that are happening right now. And so again, you're not alone. Thank you, Daniel. So beautiful to have you here and be with you. Thank you all as well. This is actually feels like a good wrapping up point. So thank you for being here. If you have been here live, if you're watching the recording as well, thank you so much. If there is more that you would like to ask, about anything that you're experiencing, if you would like to share also what you've been experiencing, you're more than welcome to comment below. You're more than welcome to contact me privately as well. I'll put my information below this video, for those of you that may be of more support. So thank you as well. I love you guys so much. Thank you. Sending you a huge hug and a huge wave of love. And we'll see you guys soon.